Hi, you guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy storytelling. If you have a second, a couple minutes rather, I'd love for you to climb on in here. I want to talk about rejection as a writer. I want to talk about how we deal with rejection as writers. My viewpoint on rejection. Talk to you, whoever joins live, about rejection. And many thanks to all of you who are replay viewers. So I've seen some great Facebook posts in this group as well as other groups I'm a part of around rejection overall, not just as in other groups it's, clients rejecting us or not wanting to sign up for something, or I have a girlfriend who just got turned down for a business loan. Rejection in itself, hi Tiffany, is kind of hard to deal with, right? So I have been writing for 20 years. I've been a published writer for 20 years. I started freelancing when I was 22. That meant that I learned in my early 20s how to handle rejection. I remember this one editor, I was writing for this magazine here in Phoenix. I literally had 50 ideas to pitch her. She gave me 45 minutes of her time. I came in with 50 ideas and she took 4. And it was like speed dating. One idea after another, after another, after another, after another. And she would literally say, no, what else? No, what else? No, what else? I like that. No, what else? No, what else? So, here's what I learned. My first tip for you around this idea of rejection is to understand that it's not personal. The people that you're pitching your stories to are the gatekeepers to their audience, right? You first have to impress the gatekeeper, the editor. The editor has an incredibly difficult job because she's trying to satisfy 2 different groups of people. She's trying to satisfy her boss, her senior editor, and the publishers, and she's trying to satisfy her reader. So she's going to look at your submission, your idea, and make a split-second decision on whether or not your idea is going to satisfy her 2 customers. And that's not going to happen 100% of the time. That's not personal. That's that editor making sure that she's meeting her 2 different goals. So here is how you counteract that. When you pitch an editor, follow up with an additional idea. It's an open opportunity for you to say, all right, if you're not interested in that, what about this? If she says no on that second idea, give it a week or 2, maybe a month, but you created an open-ended conversation and an opportunity to create an additional relationship with a brand new person at a brand new publication. There's nothing personal about rejection. And I'm telling you that as a woman who's been published pretty consistently for the last 20 years. I've been rejected more times than I've been published. Anyone who's been a writer for as long as I have can say that. If you're rejected, it means you put yourself out there. The more you're rejected, the more you're putting yourself out there, okay? Now, move it over to the spiritual component of everything I do, the law of attraction. Because you're putting yourself out there, something has to come back. It is law, okay? You're putting yourself out there. That is an energy that you're putting out into the universe. Something is going to come in some way, somehow, from somewhere to support that. So the last time I was rejected, let's see, when did I get rejected last? I'm going to say self. I've pitched self probably 3 times. They've rejected me every time. And that's okay because I'm on a first name basis with the editor. The last time I was rejected by them was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. What's happened to me since? I got Being Boss, that manifestation piece. What's that Stephen King quote about rejection? I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. Tiffany, you actually came into this group because you read that piece I published on Being Boss. Hey, Nisha. I've been offered a storytelling or a speaking gig since the last time I was rejected for a piece I wrote. My second tip for you when you're facing rejection is to pitch somebody else before your rejection gets in here. Okay. So like Nisha, for example, the other day you were like, the editor rejected me. I'm thinking of heading to bed. It's an energy of depletion, right? Like it's, I get this image of a balloon deflating, right? Like we're so excited. Here we are. We're putting stuff out there. Someone says no, and we immediately crumble, which is natural. The goal is to get you built up here first, here second, so that when you're rejected, you immediately go to your second tier of your second choice of publication or editor, and you send out the very next pitch, literally a minute later. She said no, I'm free to pitch this somewhere else. Send it out. After you send it out to your second editor of choice, take a breath, and then let yourself process the fact that it didn't work the first time. I get the image of the train going up the track, that choo-choo, I think I can, right? That's really what I've said it from the very beginning. The publishing industry is a game of chess. There's a long game, there's a short game. You have to figure out how to dance between the two without your ego or your heart being deflated. Because when it is deflated, it takes more momentum to get you built back up to comfortably pitch again. So the other day, somebody asked me to apply for a speaking gig, and I did. And then they asked me to apply. And so my head thought, oh, this must be a gig I got. Then come to find out they're actually not interested in having me come in February. They're interested in having me come in like August. So for a second, that got me here. Like, what the heck? Why waste my time? Why do this now, right? And before that thought was able to turn into a feeling or anything beyond just a split-second thought, I flipped my mindset and I sent her a thank you note. And I was like, all right, let me know when you want me. I'm here when you're ready. And then I immediately pitched myself to another conference that's looking for a speaker. For me, it's important that when I'm rejected, before I deflate, I immediately submit myself to somebody else. So, for example, Nisha, I saw that you got a gig yesterday, or you're a contributing writer now for some publication. That's fantastic. Congratulations. I'd love to see you pitch that piece that you had sent out to Tribe Magazine somewhere else. And then I know you said in your post that the editor for Tribe invited you to submit something else. So don't look at it as a personal rejection on your part. She wasn't interested in that story at that time. Pitch her something else. The editor who we're working with at any publication, again, has to serve two different people, her boss and her reader. And you're dealing with so many other contributing factors. They could have just submitted or just agreed to publish something super similar from somebody else. They could have decided not to go in that direction because it's overdone in their opinion. There's so many other factors to go into it. So one of my editors years ago told me that it's not my job to analyze my rejection. It's my job to get rejected. So as writers, the more we are rejected, the more opportunities we have to be published. And that's really what it comes down to. In order to be published, you've got to put yourself out there, which comes back down to, which is what I'm so interested in supporting. So sorry, I forgot to put my do not disturb thing on. What I'm so interested in doing in January is helping people get past the fear of starting, get past the fear of sharing, so they can get to that jump off point of, now I'm ready to actually write, now I'm ready to actually pitch. But rejection is not a personal thing. So for number one tip, pitch right away to your second tier. My second tip for you is to, this is a beautiful group. I'm loving the engagement in here. When you're rejected, come in here and get your boost when you need to. When I am rejected, I have a handful of girlfriends who are also writers who have a career like mine. And I turn to them and I say, disappointed, X, Y, and Z just turned me down. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm sending it out to A, B, and C. So I've actually created like my own cheerleading squad. I'm a part of other people's cheerleading squads. So create that for yourself, a supportive environment. This group is fantastic. Find your tribe of other soulful writers who can support you in that. And make sure that you're turning to them and you're asking them for support when something doesn't go your way. The last tip I have for you around rejection is to, of course, journal it out. Okay, so when we're hurt because we're rejected and we're taking it really personally, ask yourself why it hurts so bad. Is it because you don't believe that your story is powerful? Is it because you don't believe you're a good enough writer? Or is it because you want it so badly that it didn't happen? There's always an underlining belief that we get to work on when rejection hits. So trust me, I've been there. I've had to deal with it all. I pitched 30 literary agents in 2015, was rejected by every single one. My content is good. I was rejected because I didn't have a saleable tribe big enough for a lit agent to take me on at that point. That was something I had to, do some mindset stuff on and flip around. But there's always an underlying belief system when it comes to rejection. And our job is to find that old belief, journal it out, put it to rest, and go back out and pitch. The more you're rejected, the more possibility you have to be published. And you're in the game of being published, of sharing stories. And it will happen. Hopefully it happens to you thousands of times, because that means that you've created the opportunity for you to be published about half that time, about half that much. Let me know how that feels for you, if that feels right, if you, what you do to get over being rejected. I was going to do a Facebook Live today up at Barnes & Noble. I have my nephew today, and we went to Barnes & Noble to play with in their children's section of the books, and they have a little train thing that he loves. I love going to the bookstore for no other reason other than to sit and to meditate in the vibration of all of these people having the guts to create something and publish it. Literally thousands of stories, right, captured in the walls of this bookstore. Children's stories, memoirs, history books, nonfiction, fiction, fantasy, thrillers, romance, business. It's almost like overwhelming for me. I almost start crying when I'm sitting there, because I know how much effort it takes to get something from here to physical, between the covers, that it's really uplifting for me. So maybe when you are facing that, the fear of starting, the fear of sharing, the deflation of rejection, find a comfortable, uplifting space and make yourself go and sort of meditate and sit there in it. It really will change your mindset, I promise. Tiffany, I think getting back up as quickly as possible is very important. You can stew in your disappointment, tell yourself stories about yourself that aren't true. Yeah, it's paralyzing. And the stories that we tell ourselves are the most important ones we tell. And when we get hurt, it's really easy to fall back into that mindset of, oh, my stories aren't important, or I don't need to, this isn't going to work, I'm not going to try. It's important to try. Stories are important. It's how we it's how we empathize with one another. It's how we show compassion for each other. It's how we learn from one another. It's important. So don't let being rejected stop you from sharing your stories, because your voice is valuable for this world, and I want to see every single person in this group get published. All right, you guys. I am, just so you know, personally, yesterday I had my procedure. It went really, really well. I struggle with doing too much too soon, because I just want to like pop up out of something like that and just start running and going, and my body is telling me, no, I got to go rest. But I felt really called to talk about this rejection and the camaraderie happening in here. I'm loving it. The concept of, starting and where you're all at. It means a lot to me that the engagement in here is so high and that you guys are so supportive. I'm absolutely loving watching these sisterhoods come to life. It's so inspiring for me. Thank you so much for being here. Actually, in the back of my head, I'm thinking of creating an accountability thread. Let me know if that'd be something you'd be interested in. I'm wondering if and maybe I can do this tomorrow, start a thread where you introduce yourself and your style of writing, and what kind of partner or accountability partner would help you stay on track for 2017. Let me know if that'd be something you'd be interested in, because it's in the back of my head to create, and I'm not sure if I should just create a thread and let you guys run with it, or if I need to intervene and start matching people up, because I know more of you than I think you do of each other. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. I'd really love to see more support for you guys in 2017. All right, my dear sweet friends, have a beautiful day. Happy storytelling. Let me know how I can support you moving forward.